Hello and welcome back to The Crunchy Life. Those of you who have stuck with us, thank you so much. And those of you who are new, welcome aboard. We are commencing our second segment of The Crunchy Life. We took a break, we reformatted our topics, and coming at you with a new formatted schedule and all that good stuff. So, yay, here we go. This topic I'm discussing today is on co-sleeping, bed sharing, all that good stuff, the pros, the cons, and how thoughts and how it affects your family. And also the big question at the end is, how does it affect your intimacy with your partner? That seems to be the big question all the time. So here we go, co-sleeping. We co-sleep and we bed share. Now, co-sleeping and bed sharing, they're synonymous, but they also are two separate things, technically. They're used interchangeably, kind of. I mean, co-sleeping is used interchangeably with bed sharing. But co-sleeping generally and technically means sleeping within proximity. Child, crib, bassinet, whatever is close to the mother in the same room, next to the bed with a bedside sleeper or something like that. Or it can also mean bed sharing. Baby is in the bed with you. But bed sharing is specific, obviously. It means not just co-sleeping, but it means you share your bed with your child. So bed sharing is more controversial than co-sleeping, technically, because doctors and a lot of people say that it is safer to have the child on its own separate sleeping surface, yada yada. Which for many cases is understandable. It can be safer if you are not aware, conscious, or take certain medications, heavy smoker, heavy drinker, even a light drinker, all that, overweight, tends to, because of sleep, apnea type stuff, not being able to be easily risen. All those factors come into play if you don't have bed bumpers, if you have a high bed, if you have hard floors. All these things come into play because baby does and will fall out of the bed, and you can, if you have a heavy sleeping husband, he might roll over on the child, hit the baby with his elbow, blah blah blah. Okay, so all of those factors make it controversial and as to why people would share their bed with the baby and not on a separate sleeping surface. So you got to choose for yourself what works best for your family and you and your sleeping schedule and the temperament of your child. And for me, we do bed sharing. I didn't want to do a separate sleeping surface. I thought I did. We got a bassinet and a side sleeper, and I thought, yay, yay. But when it came time to actually breastfeed and go down for the night, it was just so much easier. I got a lot of sleep, was never sleep deprived. I mean, me and my baby slept from the get-go, 10 to 12 hours a night, solid. Not solid straight through, but I mean, I didn't have to get up and nurse her and sit up in bed and deal with the crying and put her back down and put her back into her sleeping surface and then go back into my bed. Even though it works better, it is better for women to do that rather than have your child in a whole nother room down the hall. That's better and preferable and more ideal for the whole sleeping arrangement, comfort of the child, blah blah. But no, when it came time for me to, what was most comfortable was me sleeping in the bed. Now, in the beginning, I kicked my partner out of bed. I mean, it just kind of happened because I was really big and really pregnant, and we don't have a queen-size bed. So by the end of my pregnancy, he was out of the bed anyway because I couldn't even sleep with him touching me. I just was like, don't touch me. So he was like, he had like this much bed, and he was not able to be comfortable, and I wasn't able to be, I had to be stretched out. And so when baby came, it just kind of stayed like that for a while, because I was still bloated and big and sensitive and, and whatever, and baby was new, and so we just kept it like that. He slept on, we had a separate bed, blah, blah. And it made breastfeeding and sleeping just wonderful. Like, And from the studies that I learned, researched and learned from, was that, there's the big, like, SIDS risk. Sorry, my nose is running. Got the sniffles. The SIDS risk that everybody worries about, in my perspective, and from what I've learned, SIDS is higher a risk for babies who sleep away from their mothers in separate quarters, because not only can you not observe and be close to and hear those little minute cues that your baby might be having, heart or lung or issues, breathing, whatever, that kind of stuff you're tuned into really quickly when you're either in the same room or right next to you. But also, the baby, especially newborns, I mean, their heartbeat and their lungs and breathing rhythm is regulated by mother. If they start having like a lapse in their breathing, if it's not consistent, if you had a child that was premature or by C-section didn't get a chance to fully wash all that stuff out of the lungs, any lung problems whatsoever, sleeping with your baby can actually save their life, because if they stop breathing in the middle of the night, your breath will trigger them. It regulates their breath. Your heartbeat regulates their heartbeat. So all those sensitive issues with SIDS, that stuff is rectified by just being in proximity to the mother and the warmth. I mean, there is no replacement for being near mom. And the comfort, and then just the snuggles, and just the close intimacy, and the, from being so close. I mean, so much time is lost or gained in the whole sleeping relationship. It's just amazing. And any co-sleeping mother, bed-sharing mother, will tell you that, once you become a mother, if you're a hard sleeper, you're not a hard sleeper anymore. I mean, you will wake up in the drop of a hat to any noise. It's instinct. We're designed, we're hardwired for that. So if you'll wake up at the slightest stir from your baby. So for a mom to roll over on her child is really improbable, highly unlikely, unless, again, she has smoked, taken heavy medications, doped up on something for whatever reason, antidepressants, I don't even know. All of them are out of reasons why you would not be fully conscious or coherent. And again, if you're overweight, obese, whatever, because, so it worked for us, and bed sharing was the way to go. And I wouldn't change it for the world. Now, we have a high bed, and we have hard floors, and, we definitely had to take precautions. Put pillows around the bottom of the floor, put pillows on the sides of the bed, because we never got the bumpers. It was just something that we just never got. Baby was always sleeping in the middle of the bed, usually with me on one side or the other. And then when Dad joined in, he joined in off and on, and we would try it out, and if it was not comfortable or he was just sleeping too hard, I'd always put my elbow right up against him over the baby's head so that his arm wouldn't, like, flop on her head or whatever. And I was always kind of nudging him over a little more, like, get over, you're squishing the baby, So in those circumstances, he would go out and go to the other room, come back in, we'd try it. But lately, for some reason now that she's older, she's 2, it's been much more comfortable to sleep all of us in the bed. For some reason, I don't even know why. She's bigger. You'd think it'd be harder because she's bigger, taking up more space, but for some reason, it's much more comfortable, and it's better with all of us, and we can all sleep in the queen-size bed, and the bed feels bigger for some reason. I don't even know why. But our goal is to get a king-size bed for sure, because, we're just 2 tall, large people anyway. Not large, fat, but large, tall, 6 feet people. So a king-size bed would be ideal, especially as baby girl grows a little bigger. And, how it affects our family, I guess the only thing that it did affect was the fact that Mom and Dad couldn't sleep together much. After a while, that kind of created some tension in our family, because I was like, we're a couple, we should be sleeping together, we're a family, we should be sleeping together. But then when I would be like, I'm uncomfortable, you need to get... Mainly my issue, but ultimately it kind of affected I guess the con aspect would be subtly, you might feel, maybe there might be feelings of, oh, we're not sleeping in the same bed anymore, wah. Those feelings might come up for you. if you need to kind of let hubby go to the other room for a while. Those feelings might come up. But that's petty. I mean, really, if your relationship is strong enough, it's not a big deal. Yeah, what other cons are there? Well, one of the only other cons is, I think if you have to choose between the two, of either getting up in the middle of the night over and over and over and having very little sleep, and having baby be, whatever, crying and insecure in their bed, if you have to choose that over, I have to wake up periodically, maybe 5, 10 times in the night because she wants to flip over to the other side, that kind of thing. So a solid, straight sleep, like where I'm conked out and drooling on my pillow, doesn't really happen for me. Like sometimes I have to actually have her dad take her for a few hours in the morning so that I can get a good solid sleep without having to turn over, or because my child latches on and nurses all night long, literally until she's like really passed out. She'll fall off, but if anything stirs her, if we move or her dad snores too loud, and she'll wake up and want to latch right back on. So she is an always latched on child throughout the entire night. So sometimes I just want to lay on my tummy and be like, ugh, just go to sleep. So that's a con, but it's very minimal. I mean, the pros and the benefits to me and the blessings of sleeping with my child are they outweigh any con that comes up. Like, boom. And it's just wonderful. And now that she's older and she wakes up with those huge smiles and hi, mommy, I love you, and how are you, and just those happy. I mean, you don't get that when your child is in another room. It's just different. And there's just no, I mean, you bed sharing moms know there's just no greater cuddly, snuggly, wuggly feeling than waking up and sleeping with your child. I mean, God, wrapping around, I mean, I don't even know how it gets any more precious than that for me, honestly. So that's where I'm at. And the big question that a lot of people ask, how does co-sleeping affect your intimacy? Well, the big answer that a lot of people give is intimacy doesn't just have to happen in the bed. Hello, if you're creative at all or spontaneous at all, or I mean, not knocking the straight bed, boinking people, but seriously, you have to get creative when you have a kid, whether the kid's sleeping with you or not. Kids have like that radar where the moment mom and dad start to even have thoughts of being together, the kid's like crying and wants your attention. It's just weird. But so whether you sleep with your child or not, you have to get creative. You have to plan ahead. You have to communicate. You have to, be like, or when are we going to be able to get together? Let's meet over here. Let's get kiddo set up over here. Or when kiddo is sleeping, we'll go over here. And you kind of got to do that. Like, if the kid is in your bed, then you go elsewhere. There's other places. And, that's just what you have to do. And you have to make it work. You have to make it work whether or not you sleep in the same bed as your child, because you just do. Your time is constrained. You're at the whims of your child, and yeah, so it doesn't affect it anymore, really. I mean, unless you're the kind of parent that puts your kid in the bed, shuts the door, lets them cry it out, doesn't allow yourself to get bothered after a certain hour, your time parenting clock goes off at 10 p.m. and it's only you, mommy, daddy time. I mean, I don't even know how that kind of situation works, but for some people it does, and I guess they get to have, undisturbed intimacy with their husband still at the sacrifice of their child. And this is me being judgmental, so I'm going to stop. But no, for us, for co-sleeping, that's just, you got to get more creative, and that's how you make it work. Some parents like to and have, and there's a big controversy I've read and saw about whether some co-parenting, some co-sleeping parents still have sex in the same room with their child, like maybe on a different surface. I've heard some parents have sex even while their baby infant is sleeping on the bed when they're passed out, not awake, obviously. Some parents are okay with that. Other parents think that's atrocious and horrible, and it's borderline abusive. Like, so that's a whole nother story. So yeah, we won't get into that right now, but different strokes for different folks. So I'm going to end this now, and I look forward to hearing comments from you all. We are taking suggestions for any topics. If you have any topics you want to hear us cover, want to learn more about, whatever, just shoot us a message, comment, whatever. And we will see you, I will see you next 2 weeks from now. We do every 2 weeks. So the next video will be on Wednesday. So we're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday this week. And then next week we'll be doing Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So there you go. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.